Mora, you guys are coming off of a tough stretch of 6 games, but we just saw on Monday what St. Cloud did to Minnesota. This is a team that, with Brian Adolski, an experienced coach in there who's had success in this league, kind of a team that's quickly on the rise that you have coming in here this week, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm excited actually for another great series. I think their result on Monday is good for us. I think it keeps us honest. And, we can talk about the tough 6-game stretch, but we should continue with that, right? Another couple big challenges ahead, going down to St. Cloud, playing on the big sheet. New coach adds a new style of play and all sorts of different things that I think are good for our group, just to keep us on task and focused and not take our foot off the gas.
I know there's been, an emphasis on not necessarily results are important, but emphasis on how this team is playing. But after not picking up a ton of points against the top 3 of the league, is there a sense of urgency that you guys got to start cranking out some points and putting up some wins here?
I mean, I think so. I still think it's early in the season. We took 4 out of 12 possible points. We get 2 of them back at Amsoil, which we're excited about. So, I mean, as I've said to you guys, I like the way we've been playing. There were some lapses on Saturday that we can't have happen. And we go into every game with the same mindset. We want to come out with W's. So that doesn't change. Is the urgency higher? You'd have to ask the players, because for me, it's the same as it was for last weekend.
Does that come with experience as a coach, that you have some patience here to not get too caught up in the standings? And I know there's people already starting to peek at the pairwise.
Yeah.
And such. Does that just come from your experience, not getting too caught up in that stuff early on?
I think so, for sure. A few years ago, before we were making Frozen Fours, I think we were a little inconsistent in our play, where we would get up for certain teams and not for others. I think we've gotten over that hump. So that's where the approach is the same, regardless of opponent. And I think the pairwise at this point is very ridiculous. And I think there's a lot of hockey left to be played. And our teams over the years get better and better as the season goes on. So we don't want to be peaking in November. We want to be peaking in February, March.
You notice anything different about this St. Cloud State team with Adolski in there versus their previous teams?
I think they've always had opportunistic players. They've got some high-end goal scorers, and if you give them opportunities, they can snap it. They've got some good size. They have for a while. The kids that are producing for them are the kids that have produced all the way through. I think sometimes you shake up the coaching scene and you get re-energized players, and they're playing hard. I think their goaltending's really good. We know JoJo well, and Sani Ahola is also doing a fantastic job for them. So I think if you start between the pipes and you've got good goaltending and a couple kids that can score for you, you can turn the tide on things. So that's what I'm seeing from those guys.
You mentioned JoJo, seeing her next week. You got to saw Lizzie Norton last week for you as a coach. What's it like to see these former players playing different colors?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because, so much goes into bringing those players into your program and spending the time that you do with them. But if other programs have, the right academics for them or the right opportunities where they can play more, then it is what it is. So it's hard to see them in a different uniform, and I just hope that they're doing well and want the best for them.
Kind of a sigh of relief now that this kind of good. That sigh of relief now as we look forward to St. Cloud.
I don't think so. Not for me. I think we have a lot still to get better at, to prove to ourselves, most importantly. And I see this weekend as a great opportunity to hopefully get some points, but continue to get better. And I think we're going to face a really motivated team that, I've seen some of their stuff. They think they're in the top 5 and they're going to be hungry. And so I think the passion and the talent on both sides will be similar, to what we've seen. So we just have to be ready. And I'd rather that than have a sigh of relief. Sigh of relief can come out during Christmas break, reset, and get going again.
Coach, last week you said you were still encouraged despite, the losses and the long battle that you've had. You still feel that same level of encouragement despite this weekend? last week.
Yes, and I wish more people were able to see the Friday night game from start to finish. If you watched it, it was some really fun, really exciting hockey, amazing plays happening on both ends, amazing saves happening on both ends. You got to credit Minnesota for getting the fans in the barn. The place was packed, youth hockey players everywhere. They had their band on Friday night. So the atmosphere was very much like a tournament style game. And I think the product on the ice was right there. So the fact that we came back again and pushed them to OT was a really good thing for our program. And, you know, even on Saturday where we go down to, we make it 2-1. We're heading into the second period 2-1. It's very much a game. We had a lapse in the second period where they hurt us and it kind of got away from us. But, you know, you watch the end, we get 5-2, we pull the goalie, we go 5-3, you know, we don't go away. And I think that's what's probably scary for other teams is you might think we're down and out, but we're never down and out and we're always going to keep coming back at you. So I'd like us to have better starts moving ahead and not spot the other team a couple goals right off the bat. And I think that'll help us get over the hump. But yeah, I think we're playing really good hockey and I love our team. And I think we're still in a great spot, regardless of wins, losses, WCHA standings, all that outside stuff.
And I know you said we'll ask some players their feelings about a few things, but do you feel like they've managed to keep that even feel, even though they haven't seen the result? I know we talked with one of your players last week about that, you know, the results will come. for you
Yes.
guys. But that has to be hard, especially as an athlete. I can remember, well, we just want to win.
Right.
It's just not happening at the moment. So
Right.
how do you manage to keep that message going? Like, there is a bigger picture to all this.
Yeah, I mean, it's coming from me and, you know, you want your leader to have belief and be honest with you at the same time. And I think that's what helps. You know, we lost on Saturday because we gave up 2 goals in a minute and a half or whatever it was at the beginning of the game. And then we had a lapse in the second period and we got away from our game plan. So it's pretty black and white. And I think that helps, you know. Yes, you're right. We need to do those things better and then we're back in the game. And we have everything we need to win hockey games. We have a ton of experience. We can play any type of game. If it's going to be a tight battle or open things up, we can play all those games. So I think the experience, while not having the results, is still encouraging for our players.
Haley Cloud, you found her when making a, whether it's game out of hand one way or the other. What has she kind of shown early on in her career for you?
She's shown herself to be a very, very capable goalie. She came into a tough spot on Saturday there in the second period and she made some really nice backdoor saves. And was in the right spot when she needed to be. I mean, they didn't really take their foot off the gas. They never do. And she was awesome. So I was really encouraged by the way she played. I asked her how it felt. She said she was a little nervous to start, but you know, she lit up at the same time when I asked. So I know she loved being in there and I think it's great experience for her at this point in the season. So, you know, we have options if we need them.
Overcame everything that you anticipated.
Yeah, they did. They were 2 really good battles. Unfortunately, not the results that we wanted, but we were expecting the competition that they brought, and for the most part, we were ready for it.
How do you not give, coach was just talking, not, you know, answer if there's urgency, you start getting points. You only got 4 out of 12 points in the last 3 series. How do you stay even keeled and focused on, you know, peaking at the right time and not get too cut off on the wins, losses, and points in WCHA standings at this point in the year?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at you're talking about the 12 points, those were all top 5 teams. We're going to face them throughout the year, especially once playoff comes. And it's more important that we make sure we're not focusing too much. We're thinking about ourselves and how we're playing and not based off the points in the standings. We keep doing what we're doing every day in practice and throughout the season, we're going to be there when we need it most.
Something you just said there, what coach said, you're not saying like, oh, we're going to make up those points against St. Cloud, Mankato, Bemidji, St. Thomas. You're the belief is we're going to make those points up when we see the Gophers, Badgers, and Buckeyes. Again, that's the team's mentality right now.
Yeah, I mean, we're hopeful, like we're gonna be pushing on every series. It doesn't matter who we're playing. I mean, we just look back and St. Cloud just beat Minnesota, so every game matters. We're gonna play every team as if it's the best team in the country. And we're gonna focus less on our opponent and more about ourselves. And as long as we do that, we should be getting the job done.
Like taking on Lizzie last weekend.
It was a little different. I didn't face her a whole bunch because I'm a defense, she's a defense, so we didn't really interact, but I'm sure the forwards had a little treat playing against her.
Was it different just seeing her though in another jersey, and you're gonna see JoJo in another jersey? They're going to take on the Huskies.
Yeah, it is different, but they're doing what they want to do. And
You still keep in touch with those former teammates like you do alumni? I mean, is everyone still pretty close and such?
yeah, I'd like to say once a Bulldog, always a Bulldog. Lizzie will always be part of our Bulldog family, even if she's not wearing the jersey.
What kind of confidence did you guys, of course, it wasn't exactly what you were hoping for with the Gophers, but you guys came back multiple times and found ways to, put pucks in the back of it and hold them off when it really counted in some points. What kind of confidence did you take away from that series?
We definitely, now we know that we can kind of get ourselves out of those situations. I mean, being down a couple of goals, even in the locker room, none of us were stressed. And Friday night, we all knew we were coming back. We had the belief in ourselves and in each other. Just being able to do that shows just our team culture a little bit and the love we have for each other and just wanting to do what we can and like make the most out of every game. So now that we've proven to ourselves and to our opponents that it doesn't matter to the scoreboard, we're going to be biting at your heels to get back into it.
Are there any positive takeaways from that series that think this will the squad we transition over to Huskies now and continue building on that?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, playing against such a competitive team, we definitely were able to learn things that we do well and things that we also need to work on. So we can take those games and kind of now gear our practices and just kind of look at it and reflect to use that as an advantage. So we can look at things we didn't execute well and we can take that and now we can execute it this coming weekend. That's kind of the great part about this whole thing and having video and whatnot is you can observe your mistakes and you can become better for it. So it's good we're doing that earlier in the season.
How do you manage that to be discouraged with not, having the results that you want while knowing that there's still so much hockey to play and that more, she said everything that she can be the best hockey.
Yeah, it's important not to listen to the external noise. I think that surrounds everything. So I mean, as long as we're not looking at the standings and the media and just focusing about ourselves and how we can become a better team together. If we're just looking at every practice and how much we get better, our work ethic is unbelievable. We battle each other. We do that every single day. There's no reason to be discouraged. I mean, we're getting better every day just because the standings or the outcomes aren't what we want. We're getting better every day and that's going to pay off.
Usually there's such a gap in competitive players between the top three teams and the bottom teams. Now you go to St. Cloud, but that's astounding that they need to go for that. Do you think that much over the Gophers or the bottom teams that much better?
Are you, just repeat the question a little bit?
Well, I'm saying the bottom teams usually have been a long distance from the top team.
Yeah.
From the plan.
Yeah.
And you get really up to the top team and you try to fight complacency against the lesser team, even if you don't think it that way.
Yeah.
But now the St. Cloud knocks out the Gophers. Did you take that much out of the Gophers that St. Cloud could beat them, or is St. Cloud improved them?
I think the great thing about the WCHA is that, and you'll see it throughout the season, any team can win any game. And you just saw that a couple nights ago. I know there's been other series in the past where Mankato they didn't end up winning, but they were ahead of Ohio State or whatnot. That's the great thing about this league is anyone can do anything. Do I think that we did take something out of the Gophers? Yeah, I mean, they had 6 full periods against us, a little bit of an overtime. They maybe were feeling it a little bit, but I don't think we can underestimate other teams just based on where they are in the standings. We definitely shouldn't underestimate St. Cloud. They're capable of anything. Anyone's capable of anything in a given night.
Like that helps snap your attention to St. Cloud a little bit, like, okay, they just beat the Gophers, we've got a lot here.
Yes and no. I think like I've kind of said a couple times, we're just, if you focus on yourself and not the other opponent and what the other opponent's doing, I think that is what makes a team better. So we're not gonna be, like, when we go into this weekend with St. Cloud, we're not thinking about what they just did. We're thinking about what we're going to do.